Hi, welcome to Hospitality Live with Rupesh. Each week, we feature an industry leader that will share the latest trends and the best strategies to help you grow. Now, welcome your host, Rupesh Patel.
Hey guys, welcome. Let's see if I can get this music off and get right into this. Hey, good morning. How are you doing? Comment and let me know where you're watching from. We've had people watch from like all over the world. Super excited to have you guys all on. And let me see if I can pull up my banner real quick all right, there you go, guys. Comment, let me know where you're watching from and if this is live. I don't see it live on LinkedIn just yet. All right, we are live. Comment, let me know where you're watching from. Sarah, I always mess this up. Sarah's in the background laughing at me. I can see her on backstage. Guys, welcome to the show. This is episode number 87. Comment and let me know where you're watching from. All right, we got folks from, we got New Mexico in the house. I was just there. I love it. Daytona Beach, Tennessee, Michigan, Florida. You guys are typing too fast. I can't keep up. Ontario, Fort Lauderdale, New York, Saudi Arabia. I love this. Rwanda, Tanzania, Jacksonville. Hey, Kimberly. We got, oh my God, I can't keep up. You guys are way too fast. All right, we got Florida in the house, Serbia. I love this. NYC in the house, Massachusetts in the house, India in the house, North Carolina, Mauritius, Baltimore. All right. You guys are way too fast for me to catch up. Guys, this episode is number 87. If you ever wanted to own a hotel, this is the episode for you. If you had this dream of buying a hotel, buying that boutique or that major large franchise brand on the beach or wherever, this episode is for you. We're talking about hotel investments, how to own a hotel in 2021, featuring Lee Hunter. He's the COO of Hunter Hotel Advisors. Super excited. Learn about what it takes to buy a hotel right now. Learn also mistakes that many new hotel owners make when they're going through the transaction of buying a hotel and partnering up with people. We're going to get more into that and then discover tips and strategies all today on the show. So guys, comment and let me know where you're watching from. We got people from Montreal. We got Nicaragua. You know what? I think this is the first time we got somebody from Nicaragua. London in the house. All right, Montreal, we said that. All right, India again. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm super excited that we have this conversation because I think there's people all over the world that want to get into the hotel business as we all ramp up and get back into business. Super exciting. I'm super excited to have Sarah on again with the Hospitality Minute. She comes on every Wednesday live on the show with her news, updates, everything to do with hospitality. Super excited about that. Guys, this episode is sponsored, and I always mess this up, so let me see if I get this right this time. All right, this episode is sponsored, and let me pull this other bit. See, I told you I was going to mess it up. This episode is sponsored by smartguests.com. With over 4,500 hotels nationwide right now to this date, a little bit over 4,500 hotels that are customers. Guys, smartguests.com helps you improve your operations, marketing, reviews, guest service scores, everything you do with your hotel as far as marketing and that operations. Go to smartguests.com because they have 50 tools to help you drive revenue, turn those happy guests into, guess what? Loyal guests. So learn more at smartguests with an S.com. Somebody put that link in the comments. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for Smart Guest for sponsoring. And by the way, if you're interested in sponsoring this show every Wednesday, send me a direct message. We're looking for sponsors for future episodes. Looking for a few sponsors. Guys, thank you so much. All right, so every week I talk about a mindset. We talk about how we can all grow ourselves. And this week's mindset, I posted this yesterday. I said, people never forget how they were treated in good times and especially bad times. And then especially in the hotel business, right? Do you agree with that? I think that's super important. Last year at this time, you know how people treated each other, right? And people always remember that. Even now, as we all get back into things, got to understand and really treat each other fairly, kindly, and all those things that matter. So that's my mindset this week. All right, guys, every week we have Sarah on. Here she is with the Hospitality Minute.
Hi, I'm Sarah Dandashy from Ask a Concierge. Every week, I'll be sharing the latest hospitality and travel news and updates in a segment we like to call Hospitality Minutes. Good morning.
How are you doing?
Good. Lots of exciting things happening. My gosh. By the way, you are bringing the energy this morning, I have to say. So,
Third cup of coffee, and I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning to go to the gym. It's
one of those
it's
days.
a hump day today.
It is. No, it's awesome. No, really, really good.
What's
All right.
going on in travel and hospitality?
Oh my gosh, so many exciting things. Okay, first of all, I want to talk about the big thing that just was announced actually this weekend on this past Sunday. So I don't know what you guys were doing on Sunday, but in case you didn't hear, the EU announced that they are planning on allowing vaccinated US tourists to visit this summer. This is huge because for those that are jonesing or have been jonesing to get back out there for international travel, there are still a lot of travel bans, and there's definitely been one between Europe and the US, for example. So this is just really huge because it's finally a step in that right direction. And now, granted, there are no official details yet. We don't have an official date. We do have some countries that are coming out. Like, for example, Greece just came out and said May 14th, 15th, they're opening it up to those who are vaccinated or have proof of a negative test, et cetera, antibodies as well. And then you also have Spain that's announcing that they too are looking towards opening up, and they have a sort of timeline of June. So we don't have an exact date yet, but the fact that they put it out there is certainly very, very exciting. And it just goes to show that with the fast-paced vaccination rate that's happening in the US, these talks are now beginning to happen around the world. So that being said, move on to our next topic. Okay, so the WTTC Global Summit just happened, actually wrapped up, I believe, yesterday in Cancun. So the WTTC Global Summit, and there was a lot going on. First of all, we have to note that this was the first in-person huge global event, and it's in travel and it's about travel. So it was monumental. They had a really big message. Their message was, this is the recovery of travel and tourism starts here. And they did an amazing job. I honestly have chills just thinking about it. If you have not done, and if you haven't heard anything about it, I highly recommend going and taking a look. They had more than 600 participants live, so in person, and more than 70 countries from around the world, and 30,000 people connected virtually. It was huge. Now, the couple things that they touched on, obviously Mexico and Caribbean have dominated in the international travel scene over the past couple of months, or certainly the past year. Other key topics was how to rebuild traveler confidence. Really huge. Brian Chesky, actually co-founder of Airbnb, he talked about the human connection in travel. And I share this because this has something to do with all of us in hospitality. That is the root of hospitality. So we're going to be seeing more of a shift of where we're traveling to, but maybe why we're traveling and who we're traveling with. Other things that they're talking about, women in travel and tourism, as well as diversity, very huge, and sustainability. So a lot of great stuff happening with the WTTC. All right, moving on. Research finds that a majority of Americans support vaccine passports. Now, Home Exchange partnered with YouGov in a study to find that in regards to vaccine passports, Americans, a slim majority at 51%, they support travel booking platforms that are making vaccine passports mandatory. 52% agreed that vaccinations should be required for stays using home sharing websites. So people are understanding that they're okay that you can show proof of a vaccine in order to stay and have maybe a faster or smoother travel process. 43% said that they would be more likely to get the vaccine if it was required to travel domestically and internationally. And 64% of those who travel prefer to travel with an all-vaccinated group. All right, so always good to hear what's going on with that. And then one last topic, Los Cabos, this is great. Los Cabos expects to return to pre-pandemic visitor levels by the summer. Now, if you've been paying attention to what's been going on, Mexico has definitely dominated the international travel scene, and it's pretty impressive. By basically March of 2021, so just March, what we just had, Los Cabos recovered about 56.5% of its visitation that they had received in 2019. They've also seen the average length of stays rise from 6 to 7 nights in March as well, too. So it's just going to show that travel's back depending on destinations. It's always exciting. So hope you learned something new. That's it for the Hospitality Minute.
I think I kicked you off.
No, I'm here.
Sarah, all right. I'm super excited because guess what? We talked about this last week, and again, we're going to talk about this week. What's going on May 4th, 5th, and 6th?
We are doing our social media boot camp. If you guys have had any interest or you have more questions, totally let us know. We're excited because basically Rupesh and I have teamed up to bring all of the knowledge that we have in social media on LinkedIn. Rupesh has all these knowledge bombs with LinkedIn. I've been working on Instagram. By the way, I don't know if many of you know this, but I actually make a good chunk of my income from Instagram. So it just goes to show you that we do know quite a bit about social media and how to basically optimize your online presence so that you can create more opportunities.
Sarah, how much do you make off Instagram? I'm just kidding. You're like, what?
Damn, son. Damn.
No. Honestly,
enough to live in LA. How about that?
I see how you live and you're doing a great job. I'm super excited to host this again with you because listen, we've done this a few times now and everybody goes away with amazing profiles. So what I'm going to do on my side is help you grow your LinkedIn following, grow what you're doing as far as making a connection with other people, because that's what LinkedIn's about. It's making connections. This is what we're doing right now. We're teaching you how to grow your following and how to learn all these things about hospitality. This is exactly what we're doing on our boot camp. Super excited. It's May 4th, 5th, and 6th. With Sarah. We're going to be going for an hour each day and answering all your questions. So if you have questions about LinkedIn and Instagram and how to post things, what tools we use, like even this tool that we're using right now to go live, what are all the tools? This is what we're going to be teaching on our bootcamp. Go to rupesh.co/bootcamp. Super excited. Sign up today. We only have a few more spots left. So excited about that. And Sarah, I'm excited to do this again with you. It's so much fun. And I see all the fun things that you shared. You shared all these Instagram tips that I never knew about. And I've been using them and I've been growing my following on Instagram. So super excited. Thank you so much. Sarah has a book coming out soon.
Hospitality from Within. Date to come soon. I promise I will let all of you know as soon as I have the date. All good stuff.
Guys, comment if you love Sarah. Somebody hit the heart button and comment if you love Sarah, because Sarah does a great job. You could follow her pretty much on every single platform, including YouTube. She has her own YouTube channel. She just started back with videos because she just finished her book, and now she's back. So, Sarah, where can people find you?
You can find me all over social media at Ask a Concierge, or connect with me on LinkedIn as Sarah Dandashy.
Sarah, it's always a pleasure. Talk to you next week.
All right. See you then.
Bye, Sarah. Thanks. All right, guys. Sarah's awesome. Somebody hit the like button and follow her on LinkedIn. All right, guys. Super excited. Today's episode is number 87. This is 87 weeks in a row that we've done this. And we're talking today about hotel investments. We're talking about how to own a hotel in 2021 and beyond. Anybody want to own a hotel? Hit the like button and say me. I would love to hear who's ready to buy a hotel and who's ready to invest. My guest today, and I've been following for quite some time, is Lee Hunter. He's the COO of Hunter Hotel Advisors. Hey, Lee, how are you doing?
Morning, Rupesh. I'm great. How are you?
Too much coffee today. I'm just too pumped up.
Not a bad thing to happen. Not a bad thing.
Hey, super excited to have you on the show. I've been following you guys and your journey for 10 plus years now, more than that. How many years have you guys been in business?
Our firm started in 1978.
Wow.
So whatever that math equates to. No, my father started our firm in 1978, and my brother and I are now running it. And we've been here 15, 20 years respectively. So
yeah, absolutely. And I know a bunch of people that work for your company and or have purchased hotels as one of your partners. So super excited to talk to you about how to own a hotel. And so get into what Hunter Hotel Advisors does, and then we'll talk about actually how to own one.
Sure. Hunter Hotel Advisors, at the end of the day, we are commercial real estate brokers. Our asset class happens to be hotels, right? So I sit in Atlanta, Georgia, and I will know hotel investors, operators, owners, brand companies, management companies, in New York, in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Miami, Chicago, Dallas, you name the city in the United States, and I'll know hotel people in those cities. Now, I just said I sit in Atlanta. I will not know apartment owners, office owners, retail, industrial real estate owners. Even here in Atlanta, it's just not what I do. We are a very niche focused company, and hotels is our niche.
That's it. So you guys help people buy and sell hotels. Is that correct?
We help people buy, and we play Monopoly. Yes. We help people buy and sell hotels domestically here in the U.S.
Right, right. And so what's happening? People are like, well, why would I get into hotels when this is not the time? In the last year, we've all been hurt. You guys have seen what's happened this past year, and we've all struggled. And now you see the industry coming back up. I mean, there's plenty of places, including many cities in Florida. I'm in Orlando, and the occupancy is out the roof compared to even 2019 numbers. So what do you say to those folks that say, hey, you know what? I don't know if hotel investment makes sense right now.
I think it makes a lot of sense, depending on what level of asset you're looking to engage with, right? For instance, the big box urban, 1,800 room hotel in Times Square and Manhattan. Let's call it the Marriott Marquis in Manhattan and Times Square. It's struggling right now. Why? Because Manhattan as a city is struggling. The big box urban, there's no meetings, there's no conventions really happening. They're starting to come back, but over the last year there certainly haven't been any. So their numbers are significantly down. But go to a secondary or tertiary market at a lower level select service or even extended stay hotel, and those properties haven't missed a beat. They're still clipping along very nicely at 60, 70, even 80+% occupancy. Especially on the extended stay side of the equation. So, hotels, it's a street corner business, right? It's location, 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 as E.M. Statler said. And it's one of those things that just because my street corner is not doing very well at all, your street corner can be blowing and going. Yeah. So it really depends on where you are. I mean, again, I'm in Atlanta. There are sub-markets here in Atlanta that if an asset became available and came on the market for sale, I would absolutely recommend you buy it no matter what price you had to pay. But at the same time, in other sub-markets, I would not let you buy assets if they came on the market. As a matter of fact, I probably wouldn't even let someone give them to you. Yeah. So it really, a hotel really depends on its location, where it is.
Right. And everyone's always said for real estate, location, location, location. And even now it's more important as people invest back into the business and back into hotels. And so there is an opportunity that you see, and you see plenty of opportunities that come across your table when there's on the investment side. Is that correct?
Correct. What we're seeing right now on the investment side is slightly becoming a bifurcated market. And by that, I mean, institutional owners and investors, think private equity firms like Blackstone, Starwood Capital, and the like, versus smaller regional, more owner operator types. Think, a group of doctors who, by day they're doctors, but they partner up and they own a hotel. The institutional, the private equity groups, if you think back in 2019, they raised hundreds of millions of dollars to go out and acquire hotels with. What did they not do in 2020? Acquire hotels. So they've got literally millions of dollars sitting in a checking account that they have to go spend. So on that, but they want very specific assets, right? So on those type of assets, we're seeing pricing actually very near where it was at pre-pandemic levels. There's not a lot of discount, like in a year ago, May a year ago, hedge funds were raising money left and right to go out and buy distressed assets. Well, we all now know those distressed assets never materialized. balance sheet lenders, CMBS debt lenders, all restructured the debt with their borrowers, issued forbearance agreements and basically said, okay, you have anywhere from 6 to 12 months where you either do not have to pay debt service at all, or, maybe some interest only on that debt service. So the distressed assets that all these hedge funds were expecting to hit the market never materialized.
Yeah.
So now that same money is looking to acquire assets, and current ownership is saying, you know what? Yeah, I've realized this market can go down. I'll take some chips off the table and sell. So a lot of private equity funds are acquiring assets today, but at pre-pandemic pricing points.
Right. So what are the benefits? And we'll get into how to own a hotel, but what are the benefits of ownership of a hotel? Or like
right now, I think one of the big benefits in owning a hotel or real estate in general is as a hedge against inflation, right? I believe hopefully the Fed keeps interest rates low where they are now, but otherwise, we are headed into an inflationary period. Some economists that you'll talk to will say we already are in an inflationary period. And real estate in general is a great hedge against inflation. But the reason you do a hotel is from an operating cash flow perspective, right? I mean, okay, you're hedging against inflation. You're buying it. Let's say you buy it for $1. The inflationary pressures will hopefully increase the underlying value of that. But all along, you're getting cash flow from operations, right? And we would all say that operationally, hotels are going to go up this year, right? They've got nowhere to go but up. If your hotel was closed at some point in 2020 and you're now open, by virtue of that very fact that you're open, you're going up. So you get operational cash flow along the way, and then ultimately you dispose of the asset and hopefully at a gain.
Yeah, and I think the benefit for a lot of people is I like paying down an asset that is worth a lot of money in 15, 20, 10 years, depending on how long your term is. I love that where you have a bunch of assets. Now they're worth something in a while, right? So the hotel business is not for the short-term investor for the most part, unless you're buying, flipping, repositioning, but it's really that long-term play. And so that's kind of like a game plan. If you have like a long-term vision of where you want to be in 15, 20, 30 years, right? Is that correct?
No, and that's absolutely, you have to have a plan. And again, whether it's hey, I'm going to buy a 2-star hotel, I'm going to renovate it and reposition it to a 3 or 4-star hotel. And once I get it up and operating, I'm a developer at heart. So once I get it open and running, I'm going to sell it to someone who cannot take the development risk, right? A life insurance company, an institutional investor, someone who is more than happy to pay me as a developer. I bought it at $5. I put $10 in it. It's now $15. They're more than willing to pay me $30 because I took the risk on that development, right? It could have cost me $20 to renovate instead of $10, right? So now my profit's lower, but they can't take the development risk. They're more than happy to pay me for that. On the other end, you need a plan of, yeah, you know what? I'm going to own this 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever your plan is. Because if you remember, every 5 to 7 years, if you have a franchise, if you have a brand, that brand's going to require you to renovate the hotel. Whether you think you need it or not, they're going to require you to do it. So having a plan and knowing what you want to do and then working that plan is vitally important.
Yeah, and we're talking about hotels and how to buy them. And I would love to learn for the folks that are watching live. And thank you so much for watching. I know you guys are all interested in getting into the business because a lot of you are either already owning hotels, or you're the general manager. Now, I've seen quite a few general managers become an owner, have an owner stake into a property, which is an opportunity for anybody. And so it could be a motel, which I've seen friends turn a motel into something bigger and made a lot of money, even more money than let's say a Hampton or maybe a larger hotel, which is pretty exciting. So it's not just buying a huge hotel when you're considering buying hotels, but it's that small motel that could be valuable to you too, as you have a game plan long term. Is that correct?
Yeah, and for the last several years, we have been Motel 6, right? The brand Motel 6. is owned by a the brand is owned by a large private equity fund. They have shifted from a real estate owned model to a franchising model. So they're selling all of their Motel 6 assets. Okay. And we're running point on that for them. It's been fascinating to see who's buying those assets. And it's not who you might think would be the normal buyer of those assets. The people that are buying these hotels are developers primarily who have gone out and they've developed the Hilton product, the Marriott product. They took on that development risk, and I'm going to use numbers for talking purposes here, but they built a Courtyard by Marriott that cost them all in $150,000 a key to build. They turn around and they sell that to the institutional private equity group for $225,000 a key. So I just say that made anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000 a key on their 100-room hotel or 120-room hotel or however big it is. They made $50,000 to $75,000 on that. Well, they're taking that profit that they made on the development side, developing these Hilton and Marriott branded products, and they're going out and they're buying Motel 6 assets. Why? Because Motel 6 assets are cash cows. Right? They may not be sexy. It may not be this nice, beautiful hotel in some urban location. It may be a, 2-story exterior corridor property in a tertiary market somewhere, but they cash flow and they hold their value. And when these developers have made literally, millions of dollars on one asset, they don't want to lose that money that they've made. So they roll it into these Motel 6s where they're going to only build on the money that they've made because those properties are going to cash flow. They will not lose that equity investment that they've made.
Yeah, and I think that's smart because these motels and these easy to run operation hotels properties are, like you said, cash flowing, and it's crazy to see the numbers between one type of property and then maybe a different service level and then another type, and you're like, well, wait a minute, why am I working this hard the entire year, putting all this effort and energy and expense, but I'm making the same amount or maybe even less than maybe like a Motel 6. So I feel the same way where our properties aren't luxury properties, and I'm okay with that. I work on the limited service, the select service stuff, and that's what I want to invest into because I know that makes money, and I think long term I could maybe even redevelop that land to something else, right? Eventually, as the city grows.
100%. I mean, I can remember I went to Cornell University in the hotel school up there for graduate school. And I can remember the very first day of class, and now I'm going to date myself. This was 1996, August of 96. I'm sitting in class in Ithaca, New York at Cornell University. And, everybody's like, okay, what do you want to do when you get out of here? And everybody's like, oh, I want to be the general manager of the Ritz-Carlton. I want to work at the Four Seasons. I want to do this, that, and the other. I said, I want to own 3 Hampton Inns. Yeah. And they looked at me and they went, are you crazy? I mean, Hampton Inn, what is that? That's there's no meeting space. There's no F&B operations. It's just guest rooms and a small little gym and a pool. Yeah. Are you crazy? I'm like, yeah, just want to own 3. I don't need again, Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons. Nope. And they're like, why? And I'm like, well, here's the P&L statement. Look how much these things cash flow. And the return on investment is significantly higher than at the Four Seasons or the Ritz-Carlton or what have you, because, yes, you pay, more to rent the room at the Four Seasons or the Ritz, but it's also operationally more expensive to run than it is, a select service hotel. So, the mindset somewhere, around the early 2000s, that secret got out and Wall Street recognized, hey, wait a minute, these select service properties may, like you just said, Rupesh, may not be sexy, but they cash flow.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Oh, I know some guys that are making a killing compared to somebody else that's now struggling in their convention area or urban area property because of just what they invested into, right? And so, it's timing, it's the pandemic. We can't really blame it on that, but There are hotels that are making a lot of money and there are hotels that are not making money. Let's get into the mistakes of the people that when they're trying to buy a hotel, what are the few mistakes that we should consider before we even getting into an investment?
The biggest mistake that I see people make is they don't budget enough cash. They talk with their lender, and the lender says, okay, I'll make you the loan. You're gonna, depending on your lender, you're looking anywhere. Today's world depends on the asset, depends on the lender, but anywhere from 40%, all the way down to 10% in equity. All right, let's just say it's a normal, you got to put down 20%. Okay. A lot of people make the mistake of saying, all right, I got my 20%. Here you go. I got no more cash in the bank, but I got my 20%. Okay, let's go run this hotel. Well, then they forget about things like working capital and things of that nature. So the biggest mistake I see from first-time owners is they don't budget enough cash on hand to cover working capital and expenses, that they just think, oh, wait a minute, I got my equity investment, that the bank told me I needed. That's exactly what I got. Great. So the biggest mistake I see is not planning to have enough cash on hand from a working capital perspective.
That's a great tip. What else?
Thinking, if you're a branded property, thinking your renovation is going to be, one number when it's really whatever that number is plus 20%, right? If you have a brand, they're going to, when you acquire the asset, they're going to require you to do what's called a change of ownership PIP. And PIP is product improvement plan, right? So they are going to say, great, yes, Lee, you want to buy this Hampton Inn, we're Hilton. We'll allow you to operate this as a Hampton franchise for the next 20 years. Here, sign this agreement. Oh, by the way, there's an application fee of $175,000 that you got to sign. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. All that cash. Wait a minute. That I just talked about. Do I have it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in order to do this, we want you to, renovate the hotel. Well, the previous owner just renovated it 3 years ago. Why do I need to renovate now? Oh, well, because we've got a new prototype, and that color scheme and the carpet is old. It's not, current color scheme. The case goods, those are 8 years old. You got to replace those. And so all of a sudden, in order just to keep it a Hampton Inn, here's this list of renovations you got to do. And the biggest mistake we see is people say, oh, I can do that for $1 million. And then it comes back at $1.5 million.
Yeah.
They underestimate the renovation costs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's you can get yourself into a bind the first year, the first 6 months, if you're not budgeted properly. And like Lee's saying is, it's the cash. It's you're looking forward as what are going to be all your expenses, even for the next year or two, because there's a ramp up period, and then can you operate this type of property? So what I see where a lot of people make mistakes is they don't know how to run a hotel. This is their first hotel, and so they've never been in the business, right? I would really partner up with somebody that has run the hotel business, has run a hotel, because it's not like any other business in the world. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have operation heavy, right? We have all these staff members. We have all this expense that if you are running another type of business, it's totally different. So maybe partnering up. My mistake that I've seen people make is partnering up with the wrong person or a wrong group. Right. And all of a sudden you were expecting this return. Let's say you put in 50,000, 100,000. Let's say you put $1 million into the project, and you're expecting a 10% return, and all of a sudden it's 5%, and you needed that money, and now you need the money because whatever reason, or there was a capital call because that hotel's not making money. These are all mistakes that you kind of need to get yourself aligned with before you invest in these hotels. Now, we're talking about hotel investments. How can someone that's never been in the business enter the hotel business right now?
Well, a good way of first of all, you want to know, okay, how much capital do I have to invest? Because that will steer you towards what level of asset, right? I mean, if you have $100,000 to invest, that's a lot different than you have $10 million to invest, right? So, and then even if you had 10 million, do you want to spend it all in one deal, or do you want to spread it out around multiple deals, right? So I think the first thing to look at is, all right, how much capital do I have to invest? Because that will direct you toward the level of asset, right? That you're able to do. And just because to make the math easy, let's say you had $1 million to invest. Let's say you can get 80% loan. Okay, you can buy up to a $5 million asset. Well, you probably don't want to buy a $5 million asset because, like I said a second ago, you don't want to spend all that $1 million, right? So you're really looking at do something less than 5 million. Well, at less than 5 million, we already know you're not buying the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons. You're probably not buying a full service hotel, period. You're now looking at a select service asset or smaller room count if you wanted to, full service. That could, get you into a, 25, 30, 50 room, call it boutique type property, which may be more full service from a restaurant perspective. But most likely you're looking at a select service, 75 to 125 room property at that price point. Then there are numerous, I call them my friendly competition, right? Guys who do what I do all around the U.S. And some focus on a national basis, others focus on a very regional basis, and some even smaller than regional. They'll focus on market specific. They will focus on South Beach, right? And they don't go further north than West Palm, right? And so they will focus on South Beach. And if that's a market where you want to be, find that guy, that company that focuses on South Beach. If you want to be in Orlando, I have a team member that sits in Orlando and he knows everything going on in town, right? So he'd be the guy you'd want to call in Orlando because he can say this, and this. So you'd want to reach out and find, guys like me, and again, I call them my friendly competition, but certainly Hunter Hotel Advisors, CBRE, JLL, HREC, HWE. There's a lot of firms that do this on a national basis, as well as smaller regional firms that focus on specific markets. So, reach out to a broker like me because they'll know what's going on. And when you contact that broker, have an idea of what you're looking for, right? Don't just call them up and say, I want to buy a hotel. Because, the first thing that broker is going to do, if he or she is any good, is start asking you all kinds of questions. Like, how much money do you have to invest? You sit in Orlando. Do you care if I show you a hotel in Los Angeles? Oh, because you're probably going to have to move. Oh, wait, you don't want to move from Orlando? You really like it there? Okay, well, let's narrow it down to, a drivable distance from Orlando. Okay, let's look at Jacksonville, Tampa, maybe down to Miami, because that can be doable in a day. So let's look with a reasonable driving distance from where you sit now. Okay, do you have any, previous experience owning hotels, either as an investor or by yourself? Because what that's going to determine is what kind of debt can you get? What's the bank that's going to provide you a loan? What are they going to look at? And if this is your first hotel, they may require you to have a little more than 20%, right? They may want you to bring 25, 30% to the table, and just to protect their investment. Now, there are things you can do to mitigate around that. The SBA is one. You can ratchet that debt level up with SBA financing because the SBA by its very nature wants first-time hoteliers in the business. But so then you're going to get asked that kind of question. You got to think this thing. Then you're going to think, okay, well, I'm looking at this Hampton Inn. Well, Hilton, who owns the Hampton brand, is going to say, all right, have you ever owned a hotel before? Have you ever run a hotel before? And you're going to say, nope. And Hilton is going to say, that's great. You cannot run this Hampton Inn. We will not allow you to operate the hotel. So you're either going to have to engage a third-party management company that we have approved. Here's our list of approved management companies. So you engage a third-party management company, or you have to hire a general manager that we approve of. Oh, by the way, here's a list of general managers that we approve of. So you think you're going to operate this thing yourself and you're going to be the general manager, and no, Hilton just told you, no, you're not, right? Other brands will. Motel 6 would allow you to run it yourself, but just Hilton won't, Marriott won't. Choice branded properties will allow you, IHG, Wyndham. Again, if it's your first one, they're going to want you to come to class to learn how to be a general manager, learn all the operating systems that they have in place as a franchise, and they're going to want you to learn those things. So there will be a general manager class that they will want you to attend. I talked about application fees a few minutes ago. I referenced those. Every brand, no matter name your brand company, you have to give them fee to just apply. And it ranges anywhere from $10,000 to $175,000, depending on the brand, for just the application fee, right? And that's not applicable to anything. Funny how those have changed over the years. So then you got to deal with that. Again, some of the brands, you have to have a certain net worth to be able to, operate the hotel under their franchise. And if you don't meet their net worth requirements, sorry, you're not able to operate it as our brand. So there's requirements that you have, from the brand that'll dictate, are you able to get into their, brand family and own a hotel that has their flag on it or not. Some brands are easier to deal with than others. So it really, it's just all questions you need to ask yourself as you get started in this process. I mean, you said a second ago, a lot of people who started as, general managers who now are hotel owners. I could rattle off the names of guys I know who own 5, 10, 20 hotels who started off as an assistant GM at one small property and worked their way up, became a GM, went out and started doing it on their own, and now own multiple assets. Hey, Rupesh, I think you're muted.
Sorry. So I was saying is the partnership way of getting into the hotel business is probably a lot easier than just trying to do it on your own. And I've seen a lot of people that are general managers may partner up with somebody that already owns hotels and say, hey, listen, I'll put the sweat equity in. I'll put the whole project together. I'll find the deal if I can have a small percentage. Then they continue growing that as they get a bigger percentage of the partnerships. I see people doing it right now where they're like, hey, I don't have any money, but guess what? Or I have a little bit of money, but guess what? I'm going to put this entire project together because I have my connections in the industry and we're all going to make money together. And that's an opportunity where people that maybe don't have any money is a way to get into the hotel business, right? And as long as you're willing to hustle and work hard.
It's sweat equity. I mean, sweat equity is a great way to get into this business. If a lot of the guys, people I know that are doing it, they partner with friends and family, right? They've got, or they know other owners. They're the GM of an ownership group, and hey, I've run your hotels for 10 years. I want to go do this by myself, do my own thing. If I put the deal together, will you put in all the equity and I get a piece, right? I get the sweat equity. That's a huge way, friends and family, huge way of getting, raising capital. Hey, you're my brother, but you're a doctor. You're my sister. You're an attorney. You're my parents. You own a company that you sold and you're now retired. Here's this deal. Do you want to be involved? Hey, we're friends from high school. We're friends from college. You're a salesman for IBM, but you have, $25,000 in discretionable income to invest. I'm putting a deal together. Are you interested? Right?
Yeah. I think there's so many different parts of the hotel ownership that we could talk about. This could be like a 5-part webinar that we do. I know, your time is very important. And we talked about a lot of different things that I wrote down as far as just tips and strategies on how people can get into the hotel business if they've never gone into it, or if they're looking to acquire. We've talked about some opportunities for you there. Now, if you want to learn more about getting into the hotel business, Lee Hunter and his team have every year they host a conference, and it's the Hotel Investment Conference. Tell us about that, Lee.
Yeah, we are. We're actually out. This will be our 32nd conference.
Wow.
So we've been doing this since the late 80s. We had to obviously cancel the 2020 conference due to COVID. And we actually were scheduled to go in March of this year. We rescheduled till May. So we are 2 weeks away from our in-person event, which will be May 10th through May 12th at the Marriott Marquis in downtown Atlanta. We will be one of the first in-person events in the hotel-specific space to go. We have, normally we were planning on having right around 2,000 people in attendance in 2020. That obviously did not happen. In January, you would ask me, Lee, how many people do you think will attend? I'd have said I'll be happy with 500.
Yeah.
I can tell you, as we sit right now, we will push through 900 this week, is my belief. So we'll have over 900 people in attendance at an in-person conference here in Atlanta in 2 weeks. Now, that's 2 weeks. We could easily, be significantly more than 900. Who knows? But the people who attend, pretty much the CEO of every major hotel brand company will be here. 40%, that's usually our percentage, are the actual owners and investors of these things, right? Whether they own 2 or 3 hotels, or whether they own, 40, 50, 60 hotels. A lot of the REIT CEOs are in attendance. And, what you get, again, every brand is represented. Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt, IHG, Choice, Wyndham, G6, Extended Stay America, Stay APT, every brand you can think of is represented with, their CEOs are going to be here.
Yeah.
Most of them speaking from the stage. There will be debt providers, Wells Fargo, Western Alliance, PMZ Realty, PMC Capital, lots of Hall Financial Group, lots of providers of debt to the hotel space will be here. There'll be third-party management companies that will be in attendance. Aimbridge Hospitality, who's the largest third-party management company in the world, will be here. Their CEO attends, and their chief investment officer attends, and other management companies, Hotel Equities, LBA, HP Hotels, others. A lot of third-party management companies will attend. And it's a place for people. We're not operationally focused, right? You're not going to hear presenters from the stage talking about how to run a hotel. You will hear every presenter from the stage talking about how to acquire, how to develop, how to renovate and reposition, how to finance, whether that be via debt or via equity, a hotel.
Right.
We'll have both the head of research, president of STR and head of research for CBRE are both going to present, their analysis of, okay, this was 2020, and we all know how bad that was. But here's where we're going. Here's how we're projecting 21 to play out and into 22. So it's definitely something, if you are thinking about getting into the industry, it's something you should attend, just because, again, 40% of the attendees are just like you. They're people who want to, they own, again, a couple hotels, or they want to own a couple hotels, and they're coming to learn, how do I go about doing that? They're coming to talk to brand representatives and say, hey, I own a piece of land. Can I build a hotel on it? If so, how much is it going to cost me? What's it going to look like, right? They're putting their deal together. So we are a real estate and finance conference for those people in the hotels. And, again, I said we're the first in-person hotel. There's really 4 conferences here in the U.S. There's Alice, which takes place in Los Angeles. There's us here in Atlanta. There's NYU, obviously in New York. And there's the Lodging Conference, which takes place in Phoenix, Arizona. And in any normal year, there's about 1 a quarter, right? Alice is usually January. We're usually March. NYU is in June, and Lodging is in September. So about 1 a quarter. COVID messed all that up. But in 22, everybody will be back in schedule.
Yeah.
All that is to say, we're going to be the first of the 4 to go off. So my counterparts at all those other conferences and I have each other on speed dial these days, talking about, what we're doing, what we're seeing, how the COVID protocols that we've all become accustomed to in the last year, how we're going to handle those. We actually have a partnership with Clear,
Clear from the airports, right? From the airports?
Yeah, exactly. That you see at the airports. We have a partnership with them, to help with COVID protocols and screenings and things of that nature. So we look forward to it.
All right. Well, I'm super excited to be a media partner with you guys. So I'm super excited to be there in person. This is my first, I think it's my first major conference coming back from the pandemic. So I'm super excited to meet you in person and meet your entire team and everybody else that's looking to invest into hotels. And this is the first one. So guys, thank you so much, Lee, for coming on. And I know I've written down a bunch of things, but I know these people that are watching have found this conversation very valuable, and I appreciate this. So we'll see you in a couple weeks, guys. The Hunter Conference is May 10th through the 12th. I will be there on the 9th. If anybody wants to show up, I'm actually hosting an event at 7 p.m. on Monday night with our good friends at Hotel Effectiveness and Del Ross and his team. So Lee, I look forward to it.
Rupesh, absolutely. Look forward to meeting.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
All right, guys. Lee's awesome. I can't wait. He talked about a lot of different things. We were talking about hotel ownership, and it's just super important that you get a game plan together instead of saying, I want to buy a hotel, right? It's really coming up with a game plan. Who's going to be a partner, how much money you have, and then what you're going to do and what you're passionate about too, right? It's not just about for me, I'm going to say, honestly, it's not just about making money. It's about relationships. It's about a lot of other things that I like to invest in properties because it gives me a purpose and a passion. So that's the reason why I do it. I'm sure you have your own reasons of why you invest or want to invest in a hotel. And we talked about this. This is not an easy business, right, to get into, but there are a lot of benefits when you're coming into the business and reaping those benefits. So guys, if you love this conversation, you learned a few things, tell me that you did learn it. And next week, I have somebody amazing on. And by the way, we have Teague Hunter live, and Glenn Housen's going to be live with me at the Hunter Conference. So I think it's Wednesday, May 12th at 9:30 a.m., where we're going to go live from the conference. Super excited about that. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Super excited to have you on. We do this every Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys next week, and let me see. All right, so there are 3 ways that you can connect with me. First is LinkedIn, of course. Next is you can find my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Rupesh Live. Listen to past 87 episodes on anchor.fm/Rupesh CO. And then, of course, follow me on Instagram at Instagram.com/Rupesh CO. Guys, talk to you next week. Thanks, guys.